So here it is, the TWHL Map of the Month for January. That's right, after a long break the reviewing team is back on the ball again, so to start it off I'll be reviewing Beach Party by community member Too Much Video Games. Initially intended to be an entry into the Map Something Historic competition, Too Much Video Games has created a beach landing, not dissimilar to the assaults on the Normandy coast in 1944. So before I get started, here's a little insider info on why this map is being reviewed.
So the 3 nominees in January had an equal number of votes at the end of the month, which meant that it was more a case of me choosing which map I thought would be more interesting to review. 3 maps were the Beach Party map by Too Much Video Games, which I will be reviewing. The other 2 maps were Jeff Mod's and Scalz's entries to the Map Something Historic competition. Now the thing is, those 2 maps had already had their limelight by coming first and second place, and they'd already had a mini review by the moderators who controlled the competition. So I thought, only to be fair to Too Much Video Games, to review his map. Also, the fact that it's based on the Omaha beach landing, something I myself have tried several times to map since I started mapping way back in 1998. I thought it would be more interesting to see if he'd managed to pull it off. So, let's take a look.
So the map starts as any beach assault would, waiting in a landing craft for the ramp to drop and the lead to start flying. There is a brief moment for you to scarf as much HEV power as possible before you have to start moving, and trust me, this is not the kind of place you can stand around for a long time. Ducking and diving from cover to cover is the only way to survive this initial section of the map, but it can be quite difficult to determine when you're in cover and when you're not. This is mostly due to the fact that funk walls are used for some of the barriers, and while it looks as though you might be exposed, you're not. This also makes it hard to determine when you have a clear shot at the enemy grunts running around. Another problem here is the significant lack of firepower on your side. You were initially only provided with 25 rounds for your weapon. I can understand that the player is meant to feel overwhelmed and weak at this point, but to start without so much as a full clip of ammo feels a little stingy. There are pickups strewn around the beach, but given the situation they can be very easy to miss. This brings me to another point about the map which got on my nerves: backtracking. I had to run back to the beach several times just to ensure I had all the health and ammo available, since the base section contains very few pickups at all other than what dead enemies drop. The difficulty is relentless towards the end, and sometimes Glock sniping the enemy from behind cover was the only option. The objectives are never explained in the game either. There are several key objectives you need to complete in order to progress, but with no prompts or narrative of any kind there is no way to know this other than to read the documentation that comes with the map. Fair enough, it's only a single map, but you can imagine if a mainstream game did this. Imagine the opening levels of Fallout 3 or Deus Ex, if you literally just spawn in a room without so much as a whisper of a hint.
The difficulty in this map is definitely a problem. Personally, I feel it would have been much better for a mod such as Sven Co-op, where you can attack in force with some of your friends and have infinite respawns. But in single player, it's just ridiculous. I was playing it on easy just so I could finish it in order to get footage for this review. Any higher level of difficulty would have given me great trouble. And I'm an experienced Half-Life player. The fact is, I didn't want to get through it by cheating. I wanted the full-on experience.
Anyway, that's the gameplay verbally raped, so let's look at the other aspects of the map. The architecture is well put together, albeit a little bland. Considering how much is going on at the start, the beach is a reasonable size, but the surrounding cliffs are a little bereft of detail. The indoor sections look and play a lot like the grunt-filled storage bays of Half-Life. Nothing fancy, but easy enough to maneuver around during firefights. Lighting is nice, but again basic. There isn't much variation on display, but at the same time no area is bad enough to draw attention to itself. Ambience is non-existent. I genuinely have no comment to make on it. The only one I noticed was the radio interference in one room, and even then it was far too loud. Texturing sticks to using the standard Half-Life textures, and while they are used rather well, in this day and age they are awfully dated. That said, there are no sections that are oddly textured, and they are used well considering the custom props which are used throughout. Overall, I dare say I enjoyed the challenge presented to me by Beach Party, although I probably wouldn't attempt another invasion without a few more dependable allies at my side. The mapping is fairly average, but at the end of the day it could have been a lot worse, and Too Much Video Games should be commended for actually making a map with purpose, rather than a simple beach-themed kill box.